good women are dead. Evil bitches, rise up!
Make it stop. Make the hurt stop, please. Like.
So be it.
Welcome again to Voice of the Patriarchy. My name is Peter the Patriarch, and I am pleased to bring you tonight's story. We have good news that the patriarchy scrolls have been found in the corner of a patriarchy temple during renovations. I will read the first one to you now. The Patriarchy Scrolls, Patriarchy Scroll 1. The patriarchy has its origins long ago, shrouded in the mists of time. The sages passed its wisdom down through the ages, an oral history of the great and enduring patriarchy. At the end of the last ice age, when the men of the world hunted mammoth, and wild women ran amok upon the earth, the first patriarch looked upon this and said, "It is not good when wild women rule and create chaos, and the people languish." Thus spake the first patriarch, revered is he among men. So the first patriarch decided to gather the leaders of men in one place. He wore a robe and fez of animal skin. By the light of the campfire, they pondered the state of the world run by women, and decided that it would be better if men should rule. And they decided to call themselves the patriarchy. And this was the first patriarchy meeting. By firelight and in caves they kept meeting, plotting the spread of patriarchy throughout the earth. And where patriarchy spread and men ruled, the people prospered. In gratitude they said, "Hail to the patriarchy." Now the feminists looked upon the spread of patriarchy, and were not pleased that women should be ruled over by men. And they vowed to smash the patriarchy. Thus enmity was declared between feminists and the patriarchy. This is the end of the first patriarchy scroll. I hope you have enjoyed tonight's story. Thank you and good night from the patriarchy.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Please do hit that like button as you make your way into the room. I hope you enjoyed that brief reading from the Patriarchy Scrolls. Every now and then when I manage to, I will share some of the patriarchal wisdom with you all, as it is my quest in life. But we're going to talk about some things today. We're going to talk about some counterintuitive ideas today, some uncomfortable realities, some dark truths. You know, I think I kind of broached this subject recently before, talking about how Republicans, how conservatives in general are just inherently uncomfortable with the raw reality of female sexuality. And so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into these ideas. And also, if you happen to be tuning into the Hood Conservative channel, you might notice that the comments are turned off for the most part, and I keep spamming a particular link over there. If you hit that link, it'll take you to a magical land where all the other people are chatting and the comments will go live and you can participate and make new friends. You'll like it over there. So if you hit that link, you'll be taken to the Hood Conservative Live channel. And one of the reasons why you should hit that link is because just before we get to the main part of the show, I'm going to shut down the first channel and we're going to just remain live on the Hood Conservative Live channel because that's what it's for. So that being said, though, I want to talk about a couple of things before we get into it. I don't know if you guys saw this particular clip going viral recently, but I think it's interesting. A woman held a baby, I guess for the first time ever. She probably the first time she's even touched the baby since she was a baby. And look what it did to her.
I can't even wipe my eyes. I'm gonna get my tears on the baby. Right. Oh, you look beautiful. I can't look down. So look at her. What's her name? She's so cute. Why is it open? Oh my god, I need to have a kid. I need to have it. Oh my god. Oh, she's smiling.
Babies are kind of contagious, actually. It's true. It's true. Just the fact that she was touching a baby, it did something to her ovaries. And then her ovaries did something to her brain. And boom, she wants to have a baby now. The babies are they are kind of infectious, you know. That's why they have that term. You ever heard of the term baby rabies? It is an affliction basically unique to women. Only women get baby rabies. Men just hear after the fact, oh, you're pregnant? Cool.
Look at her. What's her name? She's so cute. Why is it open? Oh my god, I need to have a kid. I need to have a. Oh my god. Oh, she's smiling. I want to take my top off and have skin to skin contact.
She wanted skin to skin contact. She doesn't even have the words for this right there, right now, but her body itself wants to breastfeed. All right. There are things that her body wants to do that she doesn't even have the words for yet. It's just the way they work. Now, don't get me wrong. There are also uncomfortable downsides to the female nature, as it were. You know, you all are beautiful and everything, but this is why we don't like you running things.
There was a study done where men and women were hooked up to brain scanners as they watched people play a game. They got to see whether the people playing the game were playing fairly or whether they were cheating at the game. And the people playing were connected to electric shock machines. So electric shocks would go into these people as they were playing, and they would measure the brains of the men and women watching. So every time a player that was playing fairly got an electric shock, both men and women's empathy centers lit up. Whenever an electric shock would go into a person that was cheating, women's empathy centers lit up just the same as with the fair playing person, but men's empathy centers did not light up at all. Actually, their pleasure center lit up. Super key psychological distinction between men and women.
Now, just to break that down really quickly, as a general rule, women feel sympathy or even empathy toward people who have cheated or done wrong and then gotten punishment, while men feel satisfaction watching people get their just punishment. Yes, men are biologically righteous. And I wonder where that evolutionary development comes from. Our biological lean towards more righteousness. And I don't even know if it's righteousness in and of itself. I just think men, it kind of goes back to the hunting thing. It's a pattern recognition thing. You know, it's a logic chain. If this, then that, right? If A, then B. If bad, then kill. And that's kind of like it kind of goes down to our basic urge, you know. It might even, I mean, maybe you know, righteousness does kind of tie into biology in some fashion, but I wonder just, you know, how the contours of that really do look. But I think about it in that terms of just the basic raw primal survival sense, you know. If a thing wants to kill you, therefore it's bad, right? If friend, no harm. If harm, no friend. If no friend, me kill. You know, can it be that it was all so simple then? And there's something else. I think I was talking about this idea briefly. You know, let's get into the Madonna whore conversation. Once more into the breach, y'all. We're gonna get into the Madonna whore thing a little bit more here because there is a duality to us as men. You know, we can't quite rationalize our female counterpart the way we rationalize just raw danger out in nature or whatever. So there's an odd duality that happens in the minds of men, but there's purpose to it. There's a structure under that chaos, you know?
There is no reason for a man to behave like a gentleman with a prostitute. That's kind of the whole selling point. That would be ridiculous.
All right, the background music on this video is unbelievable, but we have to roll with it.
Ridiculous at best and wasteful and dangerous at worst. So that's the answer to the question that began this series. Where are all the gentlemen? They disappeared when the lady went extinct. And it wasn't men who killed her. Women have proudly fought tooth and nail to escape the social restrictions.
And you know, now that I listen to him explain things, and the juxtaposition is wild, because if you think about it, he actually makes the perfect physical representation of the dichotomy we're talking about here, where like you have this gangster thug killer music in the background, and then you have this clean-cut white bread image in the foreground. One of these guys get bitches. I promise you, one of these guys get bitches, and it's not the white bread.
That defined that identity over the past 60 years. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that modern women want the best of both worlds. They want the social freedom of the prostitute and the respectability of the lady. And that just doesn't make sense. Like, one person can't be both a lady and a prostitute at the same time. If these designations are to have any meaning whatsoever, they need to be grounded in objective phenomena. And while it's always kind of easy for a lady to become a prostitute, it's very, very difficult for a prostitute to become a lady. It is possible, like the Empress Wu, who started out as a concubine in Chinese history, but it is much more difficult than the opposite. So let's be real. The standard template for women's behavior in the sexual marketplace today is to engage in casual sex without commitment through their 20s and then settle down into marriage around 30. That is, they want to enjoy the social freedom of a prostitute for 10 to 15 years, and then they want the respectability of a lady for the rest of their lives. And unfortunately, that doesn't make sense to men. In fact, this is exacerbated even further by recent dating trends. The rise of soft life girls and women who say reject coffee dates and expect greater effort from men drive this point home. These women do not complain that men are expecting sex without marriage. They complain that men are being stingy with their resources. Does this sound like a lady who is upset she is being treated like a prostitute? Or like a prostitute who is clamoring for a raise?
Yo, this is the Pimps and Simps show, where we peel back the IG filters, dodge the thirst traps, and tell it like it really is.
Speaking of telling it like it really is, I don't know if you guys are ready for this next clip. Some of you probably seen this before. It's not exactly new, but we got to go there. We got to go there. Since Chicago just entered the building.
You grew up thinking you supposed to beat your bitches. That's how they love you more.
Since Chicago just entered the building, we got to go there, y'all.
You grew up thinking you supposed to beat your bitches. That's how they love you more. It hit different. Let's start there. If you don't beat a Chicago bitch, she gonna go fuck another nigga. It hit different. Like, you gotta show her that you really love her. Bitch, I'll kill you. If you don't show a bitch that, it hit different. She gonna go to the next whoop and you can like, damn, what I'm doing wrong? You ain't standing on the business. It hit different. Let's start there. On how Chicago bitches think.
So tough love. Like tough love.
Real tough love, bro. Let's start there. It hit different. These is Chiracians. Do your homework on the Chiracians and the way we think. Let's start there.
So basically,
have you done your homework on the Chiracians? I didn't even know it was like that. My man doing the interview with his vest on because he's still in Black Love right now. Talking about Chicago Black Love. You gotta be ready for anything, apparently.
Basically, you gotta beat a bitch. So basically,
beat her doonies down. Do your homework on beating the bitch doonies down. You gotta beat her doonies down.
You say you gotta do your homework on beating the doonies down. The Doonies have to be beaten down. Okay, that's the step one. Beat the Doonies down. Got to study on that. Got to go to homework on that. You know what I mean? Got to get into the back of the book on that one.
Now, do your homework on beating the bitch Doonies down. You got to beat her Doonies down. Then, if she get out of line, you got to beat her down. For real. You got to beat the bitch down and beat the Doonies down too. Because if you ain't beating the Doonies right, if you're not beating the Doonies down right, bro, she not even going to let you beat her. So you have to beat the Doonies down right before you start putting your hands on a motherfucker. Let's start there.
Once you beat the Doonies, you can beat it up. All right? Chi-Town rules. I don't make the rules, all right? I don't make the rules. Chi-Town rules. I'm just saying, that's how I go. That's how I go. But that being said, I want to jump to the title video for the day, talking about feminists and misogynists and who gets what, who loves who more. And like I said, if you're listening over on the main Hoodservative channel, now is about the time, your final chance to click that link. We're going to move all this over to the Hoodservative live channel. So I'll keep posting that link in the chat. Please click that link in the chat. The show on that channel is going to end over there. And we're going to move over to the live channel over here. So you got about 5, 4, 3.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.
And we're over here now. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Thank you for pulling up. Let's get right to the show. Why Feminists Prefer Misogynists, featuring some of my favorite people on YouTube, Malcolm and Simone.
You helped me understand that I might have been significantly more dark triad in the way I treated you early in our relationship.
100% were. We've talked about this.
Not on air.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here like, guys, just be nice to girls. Treat her with respect. You know, meanwhile, early in my relationship. But the point.
Hey, Snowman, enough out of you, Snowman. Yes, I really did just raid myself. It's my trap house. I treat it how I want to treat it. I run this trap house however I want to, Snowman. You stay out of this business. You just get back in line.
Point is in the context. This sounds really bad when you go back on it in this context. But no, this is
you're just explaining. You're a human manifestation of the research. Case study, Malcolm.
I was just explaining why she comes to me. You got to understand this, guys. So like what I did first date. Could it have been considered SA by Progress?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And
oh my God, Malcolm, what did you do?
Would you like to know more?
Hello, Simone. Today we are going to be going over.
What did Malcolm do on the first date? I can't imagine Malcolm in his James Dean leather jacket getting all handsy and rough with Simone on the first date. And she's just smiling at him like, ooh.
Some studies that show that women are worse than I even knew in terms of the types of partners that they go for. Because I told you these this morning.
Malcolm, women are worse than that. All right. However bad you think they are now, they are still worse than that, Malcolm. You have no idea. You don't want to know where I've been, Malcolm.
And you were shocked. Not only do feminist women prefer more misogynistic men, we'll go into that study, but in addition to that, males who admit to raping women are both more popular and have more consensual sexual partners than men who do not. And so we will go over.
Did you hear what he just told you? To the niggas that take it, all will be given. That's like some biblical type of metaphor. That's like a biblical allegory, right? To those who have all will be given, something like that. That was like out of Psalms or something. Like, bro, this is very, very dark and deep and you're just not ready for it yet. I'm telling you, he just laid it out from a scientific observational perspective. Men who have admitted to taking it, more has been given. Why would that work that way? Why are women like that?
And we'll go into that study. But in addition to that, males who admit to raping women are both more popular and have more consensual sexual partners than men who do not. And so we will go over all of the studies around this, what this really means. And before I go too deep into this, what I will point out that we're going to find with the graping behavior is that this is more of a bimodal distribution, which means that you see this sort of aggressive, coercive sexuality in.
There is something just visually jarring about Simone right now and her like mommy bulletproof vest on. She's got like a maternal flak jacket on right now. She's literally ready for anything. And she's playing with her baby while they are intellectually discussing women having great fantasies right now. The whole visual and the psychological reality is really throwing me right now. And her maternal flak jacket is kind of dope, no lie. I wonder if that's like a level 4. I wonder if that's a plate carrier.
Both men who are unusually successful, i.e. unusually popular, unusually sexually successful, and you see it in men who are unusually dumb, unsuccessful, see themselves as pathetic.
That makes logical sense. Yeah, I could totally see that.
I mean, it makes perfect evolutionary sense too, right? Like
that, yes.
Yeah. Well, because you're at the top, you can get away with it, impregnate as many people as possible. You're at the bottom, there's no other way you're going to pass on your genes, so you might as well go for it.
You have no choice but to all in, all or nothing.
But what's interesting is how women respond to all of this.
Johnson and Hedges, open wide, kids, because I'm gonna grape you in the mouth.
I'm not sure that I'm comfortable with the catchphrase, I'm gonna grape you in the mouth, for our new mascot.
The second thing that we'll be going over with this, because I'm going to treat this as a bit of a follow-up to the episode on host clubs, is a lot of men see this in the red pill community and they misunderstand it. They think that women go for bastards disproportionately who are the male conception of the bastard instead of the female conception of the bastard. And the
So I think what he's saying is there's a just an inherent difference in approach to how women judge a quote bad boy versus how a man would judge what a woman thinks a bad boy is.
And so they're out there trying to act like Andrew Tate when what women go for is, not all men do, but there's like a portion of the community that thinks that's the type of bastard that women want.
There are bastards and there are bastards. You have to be the right kind of
host clubs. Yeah. If you haven't watched the host club episode, I can only imagine like your typical red pillar.
You need to be a sociopath, not a psychopath. No,
yeah,
not
goes up to.
Exactly. You have to have misogyny in your balls. You can't just walk around pretending to be misogynistic. You can't just put on your misogyny jacket, you have to have it internal in your heart and your soul.
A host, and it's one of these pretty boy host club guys. That's what they all look like that we pointed out. They're all twinky looking, very fey. And he's like, I'm so tough. I'm full in to the dread game. Sometimes when my woman talks back, I even smack her. I'm a real misogynist. And then the host club guy's like, well, that's very interesting. And he's like, what do you do with your women? And he's like, well, 80% of women who see me, I've turned into sex slaves. And the guy's like, what, for yourself? No. I actually sent them out to a brothel in Manila where they live most of the year. They only see me for vacations and stuff like that. For the rest of the time, they're essentially slaves. And he's like, wait, what? Like, wait, what? What? Stop. Wait, we need to stop. Just as guys here. How many women? Like 35? That's not okay, guys. Like, this is man to man here.
Joker. It's Bruce Wayne. I just want you to know that like a normal person is under this, thinks it's really, really bad. that you do this. So stop doing it. Ugh, Batman.
It's like, yeah, it's a new level of like profound screwed up.
Yeah, this is no.
This isn't like smack, go into the kitchen and make me a sandwich. This is like, and then.
Well, yeah, there's a sort of a dark turn to a lot of this shit. Like, this is what kills me about so-called like pimps pimping that whole world, right? Pimps will tell you that, you know, I got this off game. You know, I got Mouthpiece. It's because Mouthpiece, she get out there and she runs for me. She give me all her money and I tell her how it's going to be because she believes in me, right? That's a nigga's dream. The reality of pimping is sex slavery. You can't leave this little room for the next 14 hours because that's your shift. There's a bathroom in there. There's a TV in there. You can't leave. That's the deal, right? And so there's a weird dark turn that this whole thing can kind of just go to out of nowhere. And it's kind of, you know, most of us in the civilized Western world, we don't really want to see how far it can get.
And then I'll sell your organs.
Yeah, oh my God.
But the guy's like, but I'm so polite about it. No, but I think that this is what we're talking about. The host, this sort of fey bastard, it's very vampire bastard. You know, it's what women go for in their literature, but it is not the bastard that men think that women are going for. So that's what we're going to get into in this as well. Oh, and by the way, it is not uncommon, even though the hosts dress up nice and everything like that, to grape the women who are with them. It's just the women don't care or report them in the same way they do when a big gruff masculine man grapes them, right? Because of context, which we'll get into why this happens as well, because it's very interesting.
We actually went a bit further on this after another episode recording that I'll post here, because it is so fun to watch guys thieve when they reflect on the type of man that women actually go for versus the type that the manosphere community tells them that they go for.
I've been posting, and I'll put some in the next episode, about like guys totally misjudging what women are interested in.
Oh.
And I want to put some of like David Bowie, you know,
oh God, yeah.
Master, like he's a dark, sexy, effeminate.
Baby, crying corners, babe could cry.
Or like,
why were women into Prince? I could not, to this day, that's one of those things about the female sexual animal. Women are into Prince. Women have sex with very effeminate, gay, homosexual men all the time.
Justin Bieber. I'm like, do you
Bieber? He's a great example.
You look at who women thirst over, you buffoons. Like, why are you? It's actually funny if you look at the idols that women have thirsted over, whether it's Prince or Michael Jackson or Justin Bieber, the bitch with none of them have ever been buff.
I know.
Here's an even example. People will always point to Fabio, and I'm like, I have never met a young woman who fantasized about Fabio. Okay,
yeah, I don't know who it was who thought that he would appeal, or maybe he like appealed to this very specific generation. I really don't know what's up with that. It is very bizarre to me.
Have you ever met a woman who thought Fabio was attractive?
No.
Like,
No.
never.
Categorically, no. Yeah,
lots of Johnny Depps.
Parlay, that's the one. Parlay, Scarlet. Not sure I deserve that.
Yeah.
Look at Miss Cantrell in the chat. You want to argue about this, don't you? She says, can't be. Fucking is love to women, didn't you know? Well, apparently it's not. Apparently sex is a lot more carnal for women than most of us men care to acknowledge, right? It's downright filthy. It's animalistic and filthy. And this is why we put you in burqas and make you go live up in the castles and you know, trap you in convents, all the things, all right? All the things. The patriarchy figured this out a long time ago. We must shackle y'all because y'all are wild and nasty.
Lots of Pirates of the Caribbean, you know,
100%,
lots of Lokis.
I've never met this man in my life. He's my brother. Adopted.
He transformed himself into a snake, and he knows that I love snakes. So I went to pick up the snake to admire it, and he transformed back into himself, and he was like, "Yeah, it's me," and he stabbed me. We were 8 at the time.
And I mean, John, and what's funny about the character of Jack Sparrow is that it's just Keith Richards cosplay, but pirate style.
Women like Keith Richards.
And yeah, and Keith Richards is not exactly, he's not the stereotypical buff man either. He's a drugged out rock star. Anyway.
So, in a article titled "The Characteristics of Sexually Coercive Men and the Nature of Sexual Coercion," and another one, "Why Do Some Men Sexually Coerce Women? An Evolutionary Perspective." What they found in this study and the corroborating ones, researchers surveyed heterosexual young adult men using questions about self-reported use of force to obtain sex. E.g., have you had sexual intercourse with a woman even though she didn't want to because you use some degree of physical force? They measured mating success via self-reports of attractiveness of the opposite sex, number of partners, sexual history, etc. So the key findings: men self-reported mating success, more consensual partners, perceived attractiveness, positively correlated with the likelihood of admitting to using force or coercion. Men reporting higher consensual partner counts were more likely to also report coercive behaviors. This went against the mate deprivation ideas. Now, note here, it doesn't go entirely against it because you also see a higher on the other end, but we'll get to that in just a second. A follow-up correlatory study, Malsva 1998, replicated these findings. And then a third relevant study, Sin et al. 2000, predicting coercive sexual behavior across the lifespan in a random sample of Canadian men. This used a community study of 195 men, so this is pretty good, right? And these are Caucasian men as well, so we're looking at Caucasian audiences from a small Canadian city, which also keeps it, very, sort of insular here. Found about 27% reported some sexual coercion / assault, where around 7.7% reported attempted / completed rape. Now, adolescent promiscuity / short-term mating success and more partners in adolescence was one of the strongest predictors of later sexual coercion. So it is the Chads out there. I saw this in a meme on the base camp subreddit where I saw it. They're like, just imagine like the Chads out there like, yeah, I sometimes grape a woman, like whatever. Just whatever.
Oh my God. I mean, it totally makes sense though, because I think also the guys are like, well, I mean, women just feel so lucky to be with me. She's just also, I think men who are more sexually experienced also are more aware of the fact that women like, on average, dominance. And then they may misread resistance for like, but no, please actually do the thing.
Actually, this is a really strong point. So keep in mind, this is not the woman's perspective on what happened.
Now look, smarty pants, right? All you had to do is try a little harder, apparently. I don't know what they're supposed to be trying to tell us about anything right now, but maybe you just had to try harder is all I'm saying. Did you think about that? Did you ever try that?
Is being judged here. This is them giving men questions about the type of sexual encounters they had when they had these encounters and what happened during those encounters, right? And then they, the scientists, get down and write in a book, this overwent this line that's important was in our community, right? Okay, I need to find a way to say this. So if you are a guy who sleeps around a lot, you are going to get very good at judging, like Simone said, when a woman actually, like when the resistance is part of the sexual experience for the woman, or when the resistance is like a genuine.
Yeah, well, it's genuine. Yeah.
I think there's another the element I think that we're kind of tiptoeing around, and when they're saying that men have reported a certain level of transgression, I think what might be happening is a little bit of like hunter's discernment, where you kind of just get to know your target. You know what I mean? Like you know, oh yeah, she likes to be spanked. You know what I mean? She has a hand-shaped throat. My hand would just fit perfectly around. Like you just kind of start to notice things. Like I said, hunter's discernment here, and maybe these guys just a little bit more successful in their discernment as a hunter.
It is not part of the game or like a playful fantasy, but real
and meaningful. And this is something that just requires a lot of experience to know. And what they're saying here is men who have a lot of experience, when they reply on these surveys, they go over boundaries that me, Mr. Progressive Scientist, has categorized as coercion.
Right. I've done things to women that you think you'd go to jail for. That's exactly what that means. No, literally. You would be afraid to go to jail for the things I've done.
When in reality, I'm going to be honest here, and I think that a lot of the red pill has taken the wrong thing away from these particular studies. My guess is that a lot of it isn't actually coercion, and that if you asked the women who were involved in these encounters, they would not have contextualized it as coercion. They would be like,
Doug, listen. You leave Simone alone, all right? I like Simone's outfit. That is a baby flak jacket. It's level 4. There's the plate carrier in the front. Simone's ready. You leave Simone alone, all right? You should get one for your woman. If you love her, you get your woman a baby flak jacket, all right? She doesn't even need a baby. Just get her the flak jacket because you care.
But that was, what are you talking about? I was not great.
That was our thing.
Yeah. But to progressive, okay, I'll use an extreme example here, right?
Okay.
To maybe help somebody who might be struggling understanding what I mean by this. Suppose you, every day was your girl, you're Mr. Amazing Progressive, and every day was your girl, you go and you have her sign out the I consent to, rough smecks today where I like to pretend to resist you, right?
All right. Rough sex where you have to ask for consent prior to is not actually rough sex. That is like a stage play. That's like a children's reenactment.
I mean, that's a common fantasy. That's a common sex play game, right? So you do that every day, and you've done that every day for 2 or 3 months now. And then one day, you're in a situation and you begin to get frisky with each other naturally because you didn't have time to do the consent forms that day. And she starts to do all the things that she normally does after signing the consent forms. And you go along with it because that's just what you're doing. Now you go talk to a scientist and the scientist says, you went up, she didn't sign the consent form that day. And you're like, I know her behavior patterns well enough to know what I'm doing here, okay? So I want to be clear about that because I think that's a really strong point here. But what is important to note is that you see this across like all the studies, right? So to go to more studies here, right? Lemery et al., 1996, a test of mate deprivation hypothesis of sexual coercion. This is one of the core studies behind the claim. In it, a sample of 156 young heterosexual men, self-reported sexually coercive men had higher self-perceived mating success, more extensive sexual histories, more partners, and greater preference for casual sex, partner variety, and lower earning potential. This is directly partner variety. Oh, and no lower earning potential.
Oh, I was going to say lower earning. This is that what?
Directly. And then there's Cannon, 1985, study of self-identified date rapists, college men, 71 self-disclosed date. How did they get that? We want date rapists for this study. Were compared to controls. The coercive men were 41% more sexually successful / experienced than non-coercive peers. With 41% is big, by the way.
That's a lot of box, y'all. 41%. Could you imagine that in terms of like college level sexual activity? One guy is getting 41% more box. Like, dude, that's like a cheerleading squad. And you just had your one girlfriend giving you hand jobs under the bleachers. Like a 41% increase is ridiculous, bro. This is like incel territory numbers. Incredible. A 41% increase. This is what I'm saying. To the men who took it, all will be given. Why are they like this? I didn't make them this way. I'm trying to solve the riddle here.
That is yeah. But I mean, I also would say and of course, the 80s was a different time. Let's be very clear also. This is really old research.
The 80s was a different time. Yeah, no shit. The 80s was a different time. The women were skinnier because the cocaine was pure. The women were thin and beautiful, and the cocaine lines were glorious. It was a different era.
One thing I noticed though, when I had my very brief stint on the dating market in 2012, in like the 3 months before I met you, no one made a move. No one was assertive. And that, I mean, now, more than 10 years later, men on college campuses, as we've been told by professors, are too afraid to even approach women because they're afraid of being accused of something. This is creating an environment in which only people who, even if they're like literally asking like just a girl for her phone number, in some environments will feel as though he is practically attacking her, But yeah. I do think that it's important to note that the utter lack of initiative being taken by many men would mean that any man who takes initiative is going to have a very extreme advantage.
You talk about other men not taking initiative. So like what I did first date, could it have been?
And low key, she's saying that, if she was out here all, baby ready, willing to do all the things, if she was just looking for some little nerdy guy to come take initiative, and none of you fucks would do it. And then here comes Malcolm and his little leather jacket and his haircut.
Considered SA by progress. I think I never asked for your consent. I basically just led you to an isolated location.
Oh yeah, that's
pushed
true.
You up against the wall.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, Malcolm, what did you do?
Recontextualization.
Oh my God, what did he do? Malcolm, he coerced her. Malcolm put her into a coercive situation. Look at Malcolm. Malcolm, boy, I didn't know you had it in you, boy. I didn't know you had it in you. God damn it, boy.
Is going to have a very extreme advantage.
You talk about other men not taking initiative. So like what I did first date, could it have been considered SA by progress? I think I never asked for your consent. I basically just led you to an isolated location.
Oh yeah, that's
pushed
true.
You up against the wall.
Yeah.
And
oh my God, Malcolm, what did you do?
Recontextualization. Now you're
look, she was there and she doesn't even remember what happened. That's how you know it's working. She was there, she was alert and conscious the whole time, and to this day, she doesn't remember what happened. All right, that's how you do. You gotta beat the duties. All right, you gotta beat the duties off.
You're like, oh God, I was sexually assaulted by my husband. But I had the experience to know that that's like that. And this is what I talk about. Remember, I said like it's not just about having the experience to know, oh, there's one person who I've been signing this contract with every day. I had enough experience with different women that when I saw the way you were reacting to everything I was doing, I didn't expect any sort of, like, you didn't have a negative reaction when you went home that night. You weren't like journaling. Oh my God.
And I'm wise enough to know when someone's yearning for me. This nigga Malcolm listens to R. Kelly. Malcolm listens to R. Kelly. He was like, your body's calling for me. I can hear it calling, babe.
And this is what I talk about. Remember, I said like it's not just about having the experience to know, oh, there's one person who I've been signing this contract with every day. I had enough experience with different women that when I saw the way you were reacting to everything I was doing, I didn't expect any sort of, like, you didn't have a negative reaction when you went home that night. You weren't like journaling. Oh my God, worst night of my life.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, what was your reaction? So this is something that they would have categorized as SA. Like,
yes, is it? I mean, we would have to look at the survey design to determine it, but yeah, I mean, you didn't. We didn't stop and have a conversation about words, boundaries, actions, safe words.
No, but I also used my physicality to restrain you. Before,
yeah, and you also.
She's like, yeah, he did. You totally did. And she was totally cool with it. Look at the face of a woman who's being reminded of a moment where a man used his physicality to restrain her sexually. Look at how I had to intellectualize that shit for YouTube, right? I hate you algorithm people.
And we didn't stop and have a conversation about words, boundaries, actions, safe words.
No, but I also used my physicality to restrain you before.
Well, yeah, and you
hooking up
also,
with you.
yeah, like we were in an isolated private area.
Yeah, so I had taken you somewhere.
No one can hear me scream.
I physically restrained you.
Yeah.
Right. And so what was your thought then or after that?
Squee, I was obviously excited and very taken with you. Like,
no, but
what was that word? Did she just make up a word? What was that word?
So what was your thought then or after that?
Squee,
what the hell? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Even in her mind, she still can't properly process the moment. Nigga ask you, what was going through your mind? And she said, squeeze. You ever made a bitch squeeze before? Oh my God. You niggas ain't never make a bitch squeeze in your life up there trying to talk this red pill. Oh my God. You said, what was going through your mind? And she's like, I don't know, squeeze.
Me scream.
I physically restrained you.
Yeah.
Right. And so what was your thought then or after that?
Squee, I was obviously excited and very taken with you. Like,
no, but the point I'm making is, would you have felt the same way if I had gone over like a list of like, okay, I'm going to do X with you now and I'm going to do Y with you now?
Well, for some people, that's like a form of dirty talk or foreplay, right? Like, I'm going to do this to you and I'm going to do that
Is
to you.
it to you?
I don't know. I'm because no one's ever done that with me before, so I couldn't tell you.
The only one you were, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I really don't know.
To continue here, Abbey et al., various longitudinal studies, 2000 onwards on college men, repeat SA perpetrators, men who coerced multiple times, had the most extreme scores on promiscuity-related measures, more lifetime dating partners, earlier age of first consensual, more consensual partners over time, and higher alcohol use in sexual contexts. They also scored higher on hostility towards women, callous attitudes, and adolescent delinquency. Well, that...
I think anyone who's exposed more to anything has a more callous attitude. Nurses in the NICU have, they can care a lot about babies, but they also have a more callous attitude because they've been exposed to a lot. They're not going to have the same heightened reaction to every little thing because and doctors too, people at the DMV, like they just don't, like when you've exposed to a certain number, like a scenario type or a person type, a certain number of times, policemen, right? They see a lot of stuff, right? Whereas like you and I would step onto a crime scene, we would maybe vomit, right? Like a lot of EMTs in their first rounds will vomit out of, disgust or fear or all these sorts of things, right? And then over time they don't because they get used to it. So of course they're going to get, like, it would be weird if they weren't more callous because they're more experienced. It's weird that would be reframed as some kind of disturbing dark triad trait when it's just it's a reality of becoming experienced. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually think that's a good one. And that's sort of what I'm realizing when I go through these. It's not clear to me what's just experience and what...
like a good control would be boys who have a lot of sisters. Are they more callous to women? I mean, they're also more attuned. Like it's a double-edged sword,
well,
right?
Hold on, let's go directly into dark triad traits here. Abbey et al., various longitudinal studies.
Wait, no, because actually I looked this up. Remember, I looked up. Do boys who have a lot of sisters, are they more progressive or conservative?
And they're more conservative. the more sisters you have. Oh, I love that you expand our knowledge by searching things like that. This
But
is how
I think
you
that
gotta
shows like
no, hold on. This is host behavior here.
Host
This is
behavior.
how you've got to talk to a woman to subdue her.
Oh my God.
Continue.
No, you carry
Anyway,
on.
so dark.
Look at him nerd macking live, like not live, but he is nerd macking on air right now. You guys might not know this because I know nerds, and this is nerd macking right here. He is nerd macking so hard right now.
Triad traits and short-term mating success. Multiple studies, Johnson et al. 2009, Johnson and Kavanaugh 2010, and review/synthesis up until recent years show that men that are higher in dark triad traits report more sexual partners and have a greater preference for short-term unrestricted mating and higher mating success in casual contexts. These traits facilitate exploitive acts, including
Wait. They're like, guys with higher body counts appear to have more interest in short-term relation. I mean, obviously, how do you get a higher body count when, like, I'm so confused.
I think that one of the things that researchers miss in a lot of the research on the dark triad traits correlating with more partners misses is that as you settle down or become more monogamous or in a long-term relationship as a guy, your psychology changes pretty dramatically, your hormonal profile changes pretty dramatically, and your rate of dark triad traits is going to decrease pretty dramatically. So a guy who is in a long-term relationship with lots of kids, take me now versus me before, is going to be dramatically less dark triad than a guy who is sleeping around a lot. And that's just part adaptive psychology, right? Like if dark triad traits make it easier for you to impregnate a lot of women and not have to worry about the consequences, your body is going to adapt to that because that's what you're genetically optimized to do. When you are in a long-term partnership and have 5 or 6 kids running around the house, having dark triad traits is biologically maladaptive. Right. And I think that the red pill has convinced too many guys to take pride in dark triad traits for their own sake, than understanding that it is an adaptive mechanism for short-term partner cleaning up and not, although you helped me understand that I might have been significantly more dark triad in the way I treated you early in our relationship.
100% where we've talked about this.
Not on air.
Oh, yeah. Maybe not.
So you told me this morning, I was like, oh, I was nice enough to you. And you were like, you were not. You were like, early in our relationship, you can say it.
I mean, well, your plan was to never marry me, go marry some heiress or like prestigious Stanford MBA grad, and then.
Was I muted up? Yeah, I was muted up. My bad. No, I was saying sometimes you got to be a little bit of a jerk, just a little bit. She wouldn't love you as much if you were perfect. Just got to own it. You know, sometimes it's just like I have balls and I do things. I don't even always understand it myself. Shit.
Just basically use me for free labor as your side piece because I helped you a lot with like your work and entrepreneurial stuff. And like, I was just like a work engine, a workhorse. And you knew that I was also obsessed with you. And so no matter what, you could depend on me to just be your girl Friday and always be there for you, even though you had some other wife and you probably would continue sleeping with me anyway. And because you were joking about how like, well, you were, like you weren't so sure about me. I'm like, well, obviously I wasn't, because obviously you weren't planning to commit to me. You were planning to exploit me and not provide really anything meaningful in return.
I remember I didn't lay this all out.
You were honest about that. You were very explicit about that. I wasn't good enough for you, but I was still useful to you. And
that nigga Malcolm kept framed the whole time. Look at him laughing at himself like, yo, I was such a pimp. This nigga Malcolm kept the frame the whole time. Like, you didn't love me. You were just gonna use me and make me do all your petty chores for you. And you just had me there the whole time. You wanted to go marry some rich bitch from Europe. And I was just like, hello.
Provide really anything meaningful in return.
I remember I didn't lay
You
this
were
all out
honest
for her.
about that. You were very explicit about that. I wasn't good enough for you, but I was still useful to you. And it's such a surprise to you that my parents weren't immediately enthused when you proposed to me, and that they were a little reticent that they didn't give you.
Wait, did you tell them I had said that?
I don't think I had. I don't.
And I am so trying to picture a universe. I am trying to picture a reality, some type of little pocket verse where a guy like Malcolm is in any way, shape, or form some type of bad boy. I'm really trying here. I am trying to figure this one out. Like, in what corner of the multiverse is Malcolm a bad boy? And her parents are like, no, honey, I don't think he's the right guy for you.
I don't know how they picked up on it, but like, no, I asked you this morning, I was like, listen, if you knew that was the dynamic of like one of our daughter's boyfriends, would you give him your blessing? Probably.
Oh my God. Shout out to Bluff City Nerd. He says, listen to this while working out. My God. Look, man, I tell you, this is my favorite internet couple for a reason. They are just thoroughly interesting, man. But shout out to Malcolm and Simone, man. I'm trying to understand their universe.
How dare you say that we are not interested in families in the Black community?
I should be clear here. I didn't lay this out to Simone as part of some like psychological dread game or anything like that.
No, it was the truth. It was the truth.
I was just like, you do not have right now a particularly good job. You didn't go to a top university.
And I
You're
wasn't
not
an
inheriting
heiress.
any money.
Yeah.
Like, I can probably secure somebody who brings in at least, 10, 20 million from an heiress or something, right? And if I do really well, 50, 60 million, then I don't have to worry about money anymore. Or somebody who has an elite degree who's going to get a good job and support me, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I would just like laid it out. Like, I'm like, I've got the credentials I need to secure a partner like that, right?
Malcolm said, I'm him. And you weren't exactly her, but I did kind of fuck with you, though. Bro, that's cold. That is cold, upper middle class, upper crust, brie cheese, freaking caviar game. He really said, listen, I am every bit of him. I'm as much of him as a him can get. And you weren't really a her yet. But I figure if I might make you a her. I can still make you a her.
Like, and I did. And I was like, so why would I, like, and it wasn't just that. You told me you didn't want to marry. You told me you didn't want a relationship. And so I was like, fine, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, I was also transparent that my mission was to fall in love and have my heart broken in 1 year. This is why we both amicably agreed to break up on July 31st.
But this wasn't like
the problem was that you planned on not respecting my desire to just move on and be alone forever after that. You were like, I could still like use you for free work.
What kind of autistic white people shit is this? They plan to break up on a particular date. I have never been so good at this game. Nigga, I plan on breaking up with you by next June, by spring. No ring by spring. Does that work for you? Why, yes, Malcolm. I think that is actually quite agreeable.
didn't want to marry. You told me you didn't want a relationship. And so I was like, fine, right?
Yeah,
like,
no, I was also transparent that my mission was to fall in love and have my heart broken in 1 year. This is why we both amicably agreed to break up on July 31st.
But this wasn't like
the problem was that you planned on not respecting my desire to just move on and be alone forever after that. You were like, I could still like use you for free work.
Well, and I said you want that ultimately because it's not like
you want that free work. You were still there answering the phone calls to get that free work. And Malcolm like giving you that work, all right? You his best damn worker. You know a nigga hate to lose his best worker? You know how depressed in life a nigga be the day after he loses his best worker? Food don't taste the same no more. Music don't sound as good anymore. The yellows just aren't as bright anymore.
You had somebody else you were going to go to work for, or...
But yeah, but I would feel terrible if I was doing it because I loved you and you were with some other woman.
Simone, but the point is in the context, this sounds really bad when you go back on it in this context. But no, this is
you're just explaining you're a human manifestation of the research. Case study, Malcolm.
I was just explaining why she comes to me. You got to understand this, guys. So she comes to me.
The victim here. No, that's true. It's true. People need.
God, I can relate to this so much. Oh my God. I can relate to Malcolm so much right now. It's like, listen, I'm the victim here, all right? I was just doing my normal guy thing, minding my business, and here you come feeling feelings and shit. Nobody told you to do that.
Internet are like, wow, he's way out of her league. Like,
so she
what
comes
happened
to me,
there?
She says, I'm just looking to fall in love and have my heart broken because I've never dated. I've never slept with anyone. I've never done any of that. I want to call it off. I do not want to be married. I do not want to be in a long-term relationship. So when I'm telling her all of this stuff about who I wanted to marry, what I was looking for in a partner, I was telling her all this stuff with the understanding that we were going to break up because she made me promise that I was going to break up with her. This is not me like trying to psych her out or something like that. But the
Malcolm, she psyched you out and you still don't even know it. Malcolm is in the that plant, I think it's called the pitcher plant, where like it opens up at the lid. It's got like this little deep cylinder, and the animals, the insects kind of just crawl up to the lid and then fall in, and then the trap closes on the top. Like, Malcolm is in the bottom of her little pitcher plant trap and he still doesn't even know it. He still thinks he's on an adventure. He still thinks he's the man.
The point being is that when you tell it back the way that you're telling it, because here's the way I saw it, okay?
Okay,
you're telling me I have to break up with you, okay? So I'm just telling you, well, this is what I'm going to do after I break up with you. This is what I'm looking for in a partner. If you know any women like this, let me know.
You weren't going to marry me.
Hold on. Yeah, because you told me not to marry. You told me you wanted to break up.
You said, look, I'm not looking to date. I'm looking to find a wife, and I intend to find her at Stanford, where there's a large school.
True, and you said you wanted to break up. You were very clear. And so the thing that
Yo, she totally mind fucked him, and she's still trying to cope with the mind fuck. Oh, this is deep. Look at her face now. She knows what she did to him. It is written all over your face. You know exactly what you did to him. All that IQ. And look how stupid you are. This is just like that Batman and Joker interrogation scene where Joker is like, look at all your strength and you have nothing to do with it. All that IQ and you're not as smart as you think you are.
You're mad at me about.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
The thing you were distressed about at the time.
Distressed? I just didn't listen. Look, I wanted to fall in love and have my heart broken and get over it. I didn't want to be like.
Yes, that's the point. You wanted to get over it.
You wanted to Sisyphus me. I didn't want that.
I am. Good guy Malcolm, who's like, I'm not going to abandon my friend and business.
Look, here I am, good guy. He says I was the good guy. I was innocent, all right? I was just a dumb guy doing the shit that dumb guys do. You know, I have balls, I do things. That's just how that works. And here you go. All this time, who knew a bitch had a plan?
This partner, I want to keep working with her.
Thanks,
She's
Malcolm.
so fun to talk to, right? You know, they said, well, what are you even talking about? I was just like, oh, I really enjoy spending time with her and working with her. So, of course, even though we break up and I find a real wife, we're still going to work together. We're still going to be friends. She wanted me to like go.
No, and in fairness to Malcolm, he was on good terms with every ex-girlfriend. Like, there was no ambiguity that we wouldn't be on good terms.
Like one of my exes was one of my like bridesmaids, like groomsmen, right? Like,
yeah. Most attractive person at our wedding, for like everyone agreed, even my parents.
That was really embarrassing that your parents agreed.
My parents don't lie; they're not liars, and
I will admit. How do I put this?
That they were right, and that
no, not right. That. Just when contrasted with the women I had dated before you, that was another thing that probably put you in that second, because I date very attractive people typically.
It's true. He's right. What does Azula say?
Malcolm said he get baddies. Yo, I really need to take a look into this universe. Like, this is a whole pocket corner of the multiverse I never knew was real until I would have found them on YouTube. I really need to know this world. Like, in what world does Malcolm get baddies? Even her parents were like, nah, his ex was fire. I don't even know why he married you today, girl. You lucky. What kind of shit?
She was right, of course, but it still hurt.
Yeah, it hurts, but she's right. And I often preach on this channel that you should not just marry someone because you think that they're the hottest person you're going to get to marry.
Hire the smart fat girl.
You should go for the workhorse, which everybody knows is what I wanted, right?
Damn. He said, I don't want the bad bitch. I want the workhorse. I need a mule. What are we doing? Oh my God. What are we doing? What are we doing? He said, bad bitches are for the stupid guy. All right. I have an IQ over 140. I need a mule. All right. I need you to be pretty, but not too pretty, but I need you to be a pretty mule.
I'm a workhorse guy, right? You're very attractive, I will say.
You wanted Whistler's mother, not the thought. Yeah.
But you weren't necessarily when contrasted with, but the point I'm making here is I created an environment that was way more Dread Game than I now contextualize it as having been.
Yeah, you forgot that whole thing.
Like, listen, I didn't even realize I had you on pins and needles the whole time. I didn't even realize I was dubbing you so hard. My bad. I love you now. Jesus Christ, get off my back. Yo, they are so cute, though. I love this couple. I swear to God, they are the most hilarious people on YouTube right now. Just authentically cute.
Whole thing.
Whole thing. I'm here like, guys, just be nice to girls. Like, what are you talking about? You know, treat her with respect. You know, meanwhile, early in my relationship.
Well, but I mean, there's some.
Yeah. All that treat her like a lady bullshit. That was a fairy tale written by a queer. No. That's not how girls really approach it. And to be fair, women aren't honest about how women like shit because it gives the game away. You know? If I have to tell you to choke me, then it's not a real choking, you know? It's that kind of shit. You know, it'd be like that, Miss Cantrell.
So many layers to it. And I think, part of the fantasy too is this, like the female makeover transformation thing, right? And like you did, like this, we dated before 50 Shades of Grey was even written, right? I think so.
I think so, yeah.
But like one thing that happens is in 50 Shades of Grey, Christian Grey, this like billionaire or whatever, I think he I haven't read the books and I haven't watched. I could not watch all of it. Like it's so bad. I just can't. But I think he puts her on a diet. He like tries to hire her. Like women like this. Like he's gonna make me better.
Oh, I did
kind
that
of thing.
When we were dating.
And you didn't. No, you were like, well, like what do you want to achieve in your life? And well, how can you achieve it? And how can you be more systematic about that? And we completely changed my life strategy.
Yo, Malcolm read the Mario secretary course. Where is Dirty Folks? Dirty Folk is getting co-signed out here in the real world. I love it, by the way. My little odd theories get confirmed by real world observation. Malcolm created a Mario secretary program. He was like, girl, you're not where you need to be, and you need to be next to me, so I'm going to get you where you need to be. This nigga Malcolm's game. Nigga Malcolm, a white pimp. I never thought I'd see a white pimp.
To not around your goals for me, or your interests in how you could exploit me, but rather what I stated as my personal life's goals and dreams. And you helped me achieve them more effectively than my undergraduate college experience, than like any other advisor or mentor that, you know.
Yeah, like during the few months we were dating, she went from the managing the company's Facebook account to being the director of marketing at the 45th highest traffic website in the US.
It's true. I did get a major promotion and I got a lot more responsibilities, but I did more than just manage the Facebook page.
Position at TechCrunch, where you never, no, what was it? Not TechCrunch. It was what's that big tech fest in Austin?
Oh, I spoke at South by. Yeah.
Yeah, you won some big competition that I encouraged you to apply to, and you spoke at South by Southwest, and then we changed your outfit. We changed we worked on like all sorts of all over change, which again, I guess could look Machiavellian or dismissive, that I'm like this.
No. The point I was making with that was that it's not just that you were dread gaming me and being mean. You were
this dread game thing. They keep using that phrase dread game. I think for those of us in the red pill world, the concept is basically negging, where her position as the primary female in your life is constantly in doubt. And therefore that constant sense of dread, as she's calling it, the dread game, it creates a sense of competition in her, where it's like she now has to actively combat that dread, which makes her perform at an increasingly higher level, which is, you know, I got this next big promotion that she was just talking about. Like, when done with love and care, or maybe just when done correctly, you know, love and care don't matter, but when done correctly, you know, great reward can be achieved from negging and dread game, as they call it.
Also, to the point we made in the host club episode, where like the one guy giving advice on how he makes a lot of money as a host is he, you know, builds a dossier of the women's interests and what they're up to. Mm-hmm. And then he focuses in on them. You intimately got to understand what I thought and what I valued. And then anded that into, well, then how do we do this more for you? How do I make your dreams come true? And so I just want to make it clear that you weren't only dark triading during this whole time and that you later forgot about it.
Well, hold on. Would I ever actively mean to you during that period?
No, you were Malcolm. You were blunt. You know, I'm like, well, I want to do this with my life. And you're like looking like that. I mean, like, you know, you.
Oh God. Yeah. I can so relate to that. I'm not mean. I'm blunt, but then I hurt your feelings and you don't know what to do with me.
But I mean, that's with everyone that you actually care for and trust. You are blunt when
your outfit wouldn't have allowed you to achieve.
It wouldn't have. No, you were right. I'm not. Yeah, because you weren't being mean. You were being honest. And
she dressed like Amelia back then.
Yeah, I did. I've come kind of full circle. You know, I'm back in historical costumes. Yeah. I started out in historical costumes, and now I'm back in historical costumes. Except now I'm just not wearing the occasional like hard.
But I think that people they conflate dark triad like personality and traits with being mean or cruel.
Yeah,
and I think that that's not true, right?
Yeah.
Like you can be like
it's about being ruthless. It's about being effective, and that it's a show of power and not caring about like a lack of insecurity. It's about showing power and confidence. I think
she said confidence, but I want to put another word into the arena here. Competence, being competent at life, just being able to get things done, understanding how things work, being able to express how things work to another person who may not be able to understand it as easily. These are also forms and expressions of power. Mastery of a thing, of anything, is an expression of a certain type of power.
a high correlation between dark triad traits and power, assertiveness, confidence, and initiative, which are all incredibly sexy things. And they just sometimes look dark triad-y. I think that's part of the thing that confuses
Well, here's
them.
what I wonder. Is dark triad just not having time for other people's BS, right? Like,
what even is dark triad? Is that like a psychological term?
Well, they
Is it
say
part
it's
of the DSM?
narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. But Machiavellianism just seems like a good plan.
Well,
if I'm gonna be
but
honest.
narcissists are deeply insecure. I don't see how narcissism has to do with any of this. You are being
I think
narcissistic
that there's an
when
easy
you
way to see confidence and
like,
self-assurance
that's narcissism.
as narcissist if you are trying to paint somebody in a negative light. Like, I have a huge ego, but I wouldn't say I'm narcissistic. Even back then, I don't think I was particularly narcissistic, but I definitely.
Well, the world's not about you. My understanding of narcissism is that the world is about them, that confidence is not real and deeply held because there's a deep level of self-hatred and like inward insecurity, which you lack. You can't walk by a mirror without being like,
when AI described my
oh God, yeah. You had AI make a dossier of Nick Fuentes and also you.
To get an idea. Yeah, but I thought that one of the terms that it repeatedly uses to describe my view of myself or my view of humanity is messianic. And that's a better description than narcissist. It's an immense self-confidence to the point of it being debilitating, but not a self-confidence that is at the expense of other people. It's just that I am
delusions of grandeur,
manically self-confident. Right. Yeah. But when I met you, I gave you like a life plan and you jumped up to like a world player. And then I was like, okay.
Yeah, and like the typical dark triad misogynist would not build up a woman like that. They may exploit a woman. They may position her in a way where she can make money that he will then take, but you didn't do either of those things.
Well, I mean, I wanted to, but by that, what I mean is I wanted financial security for my wife. So I say, well, we need to get you into a good degree. And so you started crying when I said this. I remember because
this was after we were engaged. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, you have to get a good degree. Like, this is gross and embarrassing. And so I was like, here are the colleges you could apply to. And you told me it didn't matter, that people would see you for who you were and your own intelligence. And I said,
was wrong. I was wrong, by the way.
No, they won't. And that was, I remember it, not because like I was mean to her. That night, I was like, okay, create a list of everyone who you admire on LinkedIn, right? And see if any of them didn't go to a top quality school or they didn't achieve their money, like women you admire, that didn't achieve their money through marriage or being born into it.
Mm-hmm.
And after you went through the list, you started crying because you realized that I was right. Not like I was mean to her or something.
It was extremely disappointing.
Sometimes you got to crush a woman's dreams and tell her that you still like her, though. Like, I know all that shit you believe in is retarded. It's retarded, but you're still cute to me. You know, it's all right. It's all right. You got to crush your dreams and then tell her that you still love her.
Yeah.
And that's how you ended up with a graduate degree from Cambridge.
Which was a 9-month resort experience. I don't know why I was resisting it so much. It was great.
Yeah, why did you resist it so much? I guess you wanted to believe the world was fair, or?
I really don't like... You'll notice I have a very high level of anxiety around bureaucratic hurdles. Like, it took me 9 months just to get us to the Peruvian consulate in New Jersey to grant power of attorney to a lawyer so that we can finish business transactions in the country, because I hate it so much. And universities are that. Getting a degree is that. You have to take the tests, you have to apply, you have to get in, you have to go through the grinding machine. And at the time, we didn't know that it was going to be Cambridge per se. I also didn't know what Cambridge or Oxford or even St. Andrews was like, really, right? I hadn't experienced it. I didn't realize it was like Hogwarts. So now I see it all very differently. It's all very different.
So I was sending you to the glue factory from your perspective.
Yeah. Yes.
But anyway, to continue here. But I should note here that it's not just the high status successful guys who have this perception of reality. If you look at Verga et al. 1979, And then the related 1976 Kentucky prison experiment, what you see is that grapists have significantly lower IQs than non-grapist prisoners, also convicted for violent crimes.
Well, they were the ones who got caught.
Or the ones where the women objected afterwards. That's the other thing you need to remember about this.
And convicted. Yeah, actually, that's the thing is I believe there's also research that shows that in trials, when the victim is ugly, that's less likely to lead to a conviction. And also when the aggressor is hot, it's less likely to lead to a conviction. I think that's pretty well attested in the research.
Yeah.
So if he looks good enough, he can pretty much get away with it. Interesting. I should work out more.
Goya et al. 2005, which showed the same thing.
No.
And then Cantor et al. 2005, a meta-analysis.
Ugly people can commit crimes, but pretty people can't.
In jail, if you are a sexual offender, you're going to be much lower IQ than non-sexual offenders. And what's interesting is that this is even bigger if you are a sexual offender against minors. They are like people who are just slow-witted people. Like, be very afraid of having your kids around slow-witted people. That's the risk.
Good point. Have AI raise your children.
And then another interesting one here is that Laseca and Miller, 2002, this came from a giant list here, 1,882 men. They found that 6.4% reported something that legally met the definition of grape or attempted grape. None were prosecuted. 63% were serial rapists, about 5.8 grapes each. And they accounted for 439 grapes, 786 other violent acts, battery, child abuse, etc. These men resembled incarcerated rapists in repeat/multiple offending and antisocial traits, anger at women, dominance need, hypermasculinity, low empathy, but their offenses were typically against acquaintances, highly planned, and involved deliberate intoxication of victims, minimal visible injury, and little weapons use. The authors noted that these undetected rapists were more in control and higher functioning than the stereotypical low SES prison rapists. So what you're seeing here is it could just be that these men are not caught and that women do not mind as much afterwards, which I know that these scientists can't say in the data, but obviously that's a part of it if they didn't call the cops on these guys, but they did call it on the other guys. It's that classic meme, of the ugly guy at the office saying hi. They're like, this is sexual harassment. And then the handsome guy saying hi.
Memes tell more truth about life than most of our elementary school teachers ever did.
Now, this study I found very interesting and I was unaware. While women like dominant men, they prefer prestige. Being respected for a skill, knowledge, or charisma achievement beats dominance using force, threats, or intimidation. Snyder, Kirkpatrick, and Barrett, 2008, quote, the dominance dilemma, do women really prefer dominant mates, end quote. 3 experiments, college women strongly preferred high prestige men, peer recognized abilities over high dominance men, coercive tactics. They actually preferred low dominance descriptions in most cases. Dominance was only attractive when women were shown it in a narrowed context, athletic competition, and only for short-term mates. The long-term prestige won decisively. So this is, again, this sort of dominant persona that you think that you need. You can be dark triad without needing to stay in dominant frame constantly. And hosts at host clubs do this.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is not about dominance. It is about, well, really self-assuredness and ruthless pragmatism.
Yeah, I mean, I guess how do you define dominance? Yeah, because I would say they express dominance. They're fighting for attention there.
Dark triad, and the way scientists understand it, and the way that Red Pill understands it, you should translate that in your head as ruthless pragmatism and not as acting like a prick. Okay.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is so much of the Red Pill content that, and keep in mind, I was most in like all the Red Pill online content between, we'll say, 2013 and 2017, so like a long time ago. Oh my god, that's like 10 years ago. So it's been a while, but it just came across as irritable, not confident, not hot, just like irritable. Just irritable and resentful, mad.
And you were into that stuff when you were dating me, and you didn't think anything was wrong with it. You wouldn't, would you?
You weren't irritable or mad or angry or resentful.
You didn't think of my tactics as red pillish
You
at
were
all.
confident. You were.
You know, that's the thing. If she likes you, everything you do is charming. When she doesn't like you, you're just annoying. There's no real science for that either. It's just a hot, cold, pass, go kind of thing. You know, it's either yes or no. Once she likes you, all the doors will open up for you.
You came across as a little sociopathic, but I desperately wanted a sociopath. So
that's what you're into, sociopathic man.
Yeah.
I could be the murderer. I could be the prison guy getting all the letters. That's how people in our community always complain, like on the subreddit and stuff like that.
Oh, the serial killers get all the letters.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but again, that's the thing, is like serial killers aren't necessarily hot. They don't necessarily look like Chads, and they don't, you know,
and neither do host club members.
Yeah,
which is also
but they thoughtfully, I think something that's really attractive to women, and just I think it should be very easy for men to relate to this. When you look at the most popular erotic material online for men, the most common super it's just women who are just so freaking excited to pounce on you, and that there's nothing better than you doing whatever it is you're going to do to them. They're just so excited, like a dog, like, oh my God, you know, like they can't wait, right? The male version of that is like intense need and interest in the woman. Like I will stalk her like prey, like
in a predatory manner.
Well, yeah, but like I think that's kind of the dynamic. Look at how ducks do it, you know. But like I feel like that is the female version of it, is this intense male hunger for and interest in, like I want to know all about her, right? There's this whole thing in Twilight of like, oh, Edward Cullen can read everyone's minds, but he can't read your mind, Bella, and like that just drives him nuts, and he has to know about you by actually
stand outside your
talking
bed
to you
while you sleep.
Yeah, he stares at you in your sleep. Like any sane man.
Serial killer behavior. By the way,
that's creepy. That's serial killer behavior.
Yeah, women. This kind of goes back to that Chicago video earlier, where he was saying, like, you know, Chicago chicks, just like they want you to really beat them up. Women really do kind of flirt with the most psychotic fantasy that if I, as a man, were to engage in this, then I would have to like psychologically break from all kind of social boundaries in order to be the kind of man beast thing that you want to have sex with. And there's a lot of distance between here and there, and there's only so far a nigga willing to go.
Exactly, because there's intense interest, and that interest on its own is hot because the desire is hot. So this Labrador style, like, oh, I'm so excited, is not. It's the same thing, but it manifests very differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so next study, Chang et al., 2010-2013. Prestige gets deference plus liking. Dominant gets fear-based compliance, but lower likability. Prestige-oriented men are seen as higher value long-term partners. So again, if you want to be a long-term partner, it's easy to make mistakes if you learn what works from short-term sexual marketplaces, because then you think that things that work during short-term sexual marketplaces are going to work in all marketplaces, and yet you make fun of women for making that exact mistake about their own bodies. You know, don't make that mistake about the tactics that you're learning either. Now, there's an article here. Feminists think sexist men are sexier than woke men. Goal and Coffrey take a related tack, but head in a slightly different direction. They suggest that female interest in sexist men, specifically men who display quote unquote benevolent sexism, may be seen by women as being more an interest in men investing resources in a woman. Benevolent sexism describes a form of sexism which is overtly less hostile and misogynistic and reflects beliefs that I was taught as a man from the US South. But
benevolent sexism, as they're calling it, it inherently ascribes value to the woman. I want to do these things. I restrict you to protect you. I protect you because I value you.
Benevolent sexism includes beliefs that women should be, quote unquote, put on a pedestal. Women should be cherished and protected by men. Men should be willing to sacrifice and provide for women. And women are more virtuous than men. And women are refined and pure compared to men.
Yeah, why would a woman not love that? That is like,
what woman is complaining
You're
about?
to financially take care of me, protect me, open doors for me, and not hold me responsible for my own actions? This is great. Like, why wouldn't someone sign up for that, regardless of their sex?
Yeah. I'm not going to go too much further because we've got so much other data I collected here, and maybe I'll put together another episode on it. But it's an I thought this episode was funny because we're going over the recontextualization of our early dating. When I was like, this morning, I wasn't dark trad when we started dating, was I? That's not how I got you obsessively enamored with me. And you're like,
there was the thing with the details, concrete facts.
I didn't mean it. I wasn't trying to be. I thought I was just being practical. And I think that this is also how I come off as like the world more broadly. They hear me say things like, well, your low fertility populations are going to go extinct and we'll replace them. And I've tried to help them. I tried to tell them this, but if that's the way it is, then so be it. We'll replace you. And people are like, that's psychotic. Well, if populations don't engage with genetic alteration, and the populations that do will simply outcompete them in a global and economic context. And eventually they will be at the whim of the augmented populations, an augmented population at least, deciding that they have a duty or a moral duty to protect the non-augmented population. And I say that and people are like, that's the same way. Like, that's psychotic, I guess. And it's like, no, I'm just freaking explaining how it works, like reality.
I know. It's frustrating, but I mean, practical takeaways for male listeners. What would you advise them? I mean, what is a guy supposed to take away from this? If you want to have,
tell us how to get these hoes, Malcolm. I was waiting for you to get to this part, man. Do I have to buy a James Dean jacket?
You can't fake it easily. Here's a few takeaways I would have. One is that more important than being a gym bro or whatever, right, is being ruthlessly pragmatic. And being ruthlessly pragmatic is what's really meant by dark triadism. Be ruthlessly pragmatic, but show interest in the woman and show interest in her from her own perspective. What does she want from her life? If you're going to challenge her or push back against her, don't push back, this is what I want from you. Push back the way.
Yeah. Oh, so that's what you value? How are you going to get that?
Yeah. So like when I pushed back against Simone, or when I was condescending to her early in our relationship, it was not, I want you to do what I want, or I want you to do what society expects of you, or I want you to follow these deontological rules. It was, you told me you value this.
Yeah.
Okay. This path or action that you're taking won't lead to this. Let's look for evidence confirming or disconfirming, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be that diplomatic with your wording all the time, but
no, I was not that diplomatic. I'm Malcolm. People know me. Come on.
We know you and love you, Malcolm.
Hey, I have balls and I do things. What am I supposed to tell you?
I would say just also be assertive and be prolific. I think a lot of this data is just kind of confounded, and it's like, oh, men who have a lot of sexual partners have short-term relationships. So, well, duh. Like you have. If you want to cover a lot of ground, like if you want to get to like 100 countries, in your lifetime, you can't like spend, 5 years in each country.
Well, and highly experienced men know better when a woman actually wants them to stop than my spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm. And also like exposure to anything is going to make you a little bit more dulled to it. You're not going to be as, oh my God, like every time something happens.
Here's a fun one. Also early in our relationship, a lot of these studies are like, these men get women intoxicated before they put them in compromising positions. On our first date, you didn't drink back then. And I was like, I won't date you if you don't drink. And I got you a drink and I was like, drink it. Like that would have been seen as, I think, going over a line in a lot of like progressive urban.
Was I really intoxicated though? It was one cocktail. And even though I didn't drink before, now I try to get drunk, and by only drinking, like, because I'm not pregnant now.
So when she does nights where she gets drunk, she takes a cup this big, she fills it all the way with vodka.
No, just 150 milliliters.
This big, with vodka.
No, just 150 milliliters, and that's enough to get me.
This is what I mean. It's such an autistic couple. Like, who knows down to the milliliter how much it takes to get drunk? I'm like, you fill that cup up all the way with vodka. I mean, you know, that's like 2 good drinks right there. It's not even a lot.
Happy, well, then systematically clean the entire house.
Is it just one?
It's just one. It's 150 milliliters. So what is that divided by 20? How many ounces is that?
I thought it was 2. I know it looks like an insane amount. If I drink like heavyweight Malcolm, who drinks constantly, if I drink what you did, I would like pass out.
Yeah, that's 5.3 ounces. So like a tall latte, you could say, from Starbucks.
Oh, latte.
It's my tall latte. But like when you are like Nordic and Russian and Irish and German, like that is, so I don't think I was actually intoxicated when we had our first date. I don't think you intoxicated.
Oh, I have an exact, what is 5.3 ounces? A Chobani yogurt cup.
It's not a drink.
When I look up 5.3 ounces, all of them are Chobanis. I don't know why.
Well, God bless. I love Chobani. That is my brand. I go through basically, but that's not my Chobani sized. I'm party sized for everything.
Oh yeah, enough ad placement. I like those too, though. I like those yogurts too. But we're gonna wrap this one up right here, man. I might come back with something else later on today. I just thought this is a great little discussion about the female sexual psychology. I told you these broads are dark, and they embrace their dark side. Why don't you embrace yours? It's okay. As long as you look good, though. As long as you look good. That's the primary thing that we've learned. You know, you do all these things, you try to bust these moves, and you're not like at least a 7 or above in man look. Yeah, let's make it an 8, because bitches are petty. You got to at least be an 8 in man face. You have to have at least an 8 man face to get away with all the moves. And then you can be evil, dark triad. You can just put your dick on a bitch's shoulder and shit. You can do all the things, right? But you have to at least look good. Right? Hey, Miss Cantrell, we listen and we don't judge. Ain't that right, y'all? Ain't that right? We listen and we don't judge, all right? They're just girls. It is what it is. I am who I am. They are who they are. I'll get back to you guys later, man.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.